Alright guys, so I've had a few people ask me about this Dolly Zoom effect video that I created a few months back, and I thought I would go through and quickly show you guys how I do this effect in Premiere Pro. So for this I have a couple clips. This is the clip we will actually use. This is an 8K clip. This is a 4K clip, and this is actually a 2.7K DJI clip that I've used. The 8K clip is the one that will actually get the best results. The reason I picked these three different clips is this clip actually is just straight back. It's just a straight shot. This clip is more of an upward pan plus back, and this DJI clip is nothing behind me, nothing behind the subject. It's just stuff moving in front of the subject. So I chose this to show you that the clip that you use actually makes a big difference in this effect here. So first thing I want to say is the quality looks very blurry, but I'm actually using proxies. You'll see it kind of clears up here. Now, what a proxy is Premiere Pro will actually go through and create another file. You see this file here is 8K, 7680 by 4320, but the proxy that I'm using is actually 1280 by 720. So it actually creates a duplicate file that's mirrored while you're editing. So I'm actually editing a 720 file, 720 resolution file, as opposed to an 8K resolution file, which is not so demanding on my computer. And you'll see if I try to scrub through this 8K file, it's a little laggy. But as soon as I turn the proxies on, the video gets a little blurry. It doesn't look as good while you're editing, but once you export it, it will use the 8K file to render your output. So here you can see I can scrub through this 720p file a lot quicker and a lot smoother, and it just makes editing a lot easier. So just to quickly show you how to do proxies if you're using Premiere Pro, you right click on the file and you go up to proxy. You can create a proxy. In my case, I've already created a proxy when I edited this file earlier on another video. So I clicked on attach proxies, and so I just go through and tell it where the original proxy is and just click attach so I don't have to render another file. Basically, most other editing programs have some type of proxies. It may be listed as something different. Just check it out. It makes editing so much easier. So this is just a quick 9-second clip of me flying straight away from me in this little pavilion that I was in the other day. Basically, what you want to do is you want to select this file, this clip. You want to be at the very beginning of the clip, and you're going to come up here to Effects Controls. You'll click Effects Controls, and you want to turn on animation. You want to toggle the animation on, which at that point it means that it will create keyframes for you. So with this clip, we are flying away from the subject, which is me. So you want the subject to stay around the same size through the whole clip. So being that we are flying away, when we get to the end of the clip, I'm further away. The subject is further away. So what you want to do is make sure you get to the very end of the clip, and what I normally do there is move the slider to the end and take my arrow keys and push to the left or right until I see a black screen. And I go back one, I know that's the very end of the clip. And we're going to want this, the end of the clip, to be zoomed in. So we'll go into scale, which is the size. Make sure that animations are toggled on, and we will tell it to zoom in at 200%. So there, we toggled the animation on at the beginning, which created the first keyframe, which is here. This is a short timeline of this clip here. It created the first keyframe here, which was at 100%. We moved the slider to the end, found the end of the clip, and changed the scale to 200%. So that's it. That's all you have to do. So if we click play, we'll see you have that Dolly Zoom effect there. The reason I have these other files here is it doesn't necessarily work if there's nothing in the background to see moving. So with this clip, I'm actually kind of going up and out, and if you see in the background here, there's nothing but some grass, so there's not much. Everything is in the foreground and there's nothing in the background to move, so you're not going to get as good of an effect with this. So just to show you, we'll start at the beginning of the clip. Turn on animations, create first keyframe, slide to the end of the clip. I guess I've already set that one. If you mess up as I did, it's very simple to revert back to the normal file without erasing everything else that you've done. So if you come back over here to the toggle animations, if you click it again and turn the animations off, it will delete any keyframes that are in that file. So we'll just click there, go back to the beginning of this file, change this back to 100, and then we can start over. So starting again, we will click toggle animation. We are at 100 at the beginning of the file. Move the slider to the end of the file. Use the arrow keys to actually find the end of the file, and we will click here, type 200, and boom. So basically what we told it to do was start at 100% and work your way to the end to be at 200%. So this here is this clip here. Beginning is 100%, you see here, and the end is 200%. So if we go back here and click play, this will show you that this clip, as I said, I was going back and up. It's just not going to give you that same look because there's just too much movement. You want it to stay steady, straight back. So you get a little bit of it here at the top because there is stuff in the back. But you want to have a lot of stuff in the background and not in the foreground, which brings me to this one here. This is basically the same thing, but this is going forward. We are going towards the subject instead of away from the subject. So with this one we would start at the beginning. We are at 100%, but since we are going forward, we want to start off with the zoom and end at 100%. So here we will toggle on the animations. We will change this from 100 to 200, and then we will find the end of the file or the end of the clip. Go back one and go up here to scale, change that to 100. As I said, we're going forward instead of backwards. So since we're going forward, we want to start zoomed and work our way back to the normal size. But again, this one isn't going to be as cool looking. You're not going to get that effect because there's nothing in the background. Everything is in the foreground moving forward. So there we are, flying forward. This is actually zooming in, or I'm sorry, zooming out as I'm getting closer, but you don't really see any effect. You can see some of it in the back, but there's not that much. If you have an 8K file and you want to really create a crazy zoom effect or a crazy dolly zoom effect, you could actually change this to 400%. But that being the case, we would have to render this video as 1080 because 8K 4x zoom, which will put you back at 1080p. But this will actually give you a more crazy effect because we are zooming in more as we were flying in the drone. The drone was going faster. So I'm going to turn the proxies off on this, zoom back in and go back to the beginning. Just turn the proxies off so we won't lose any quality, and then we'll click play. There, that was a pretty cool effect there. So starting off with 8K, you can zoom in 2 times and you will have 0 loss on a 4K output. If you have 8K, you can zoom in 4 times and have 0 loss on a 1080p output. It all depends on how much you want to zoom and what the end resolution you want your video to be. So you could have a crazy zoom at 4 times, 400%, go from 8K and render it in 1080p, and you will have 0 loss on the zoom. Or you could do 200% 2 times and have 0 loss on 4K.